Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Thanks for, sticking around, watching all my videos and stuff. And if you're new here, I'm a nature and fantasy artist based out of North Dakota. And I like to make painting videos, and I also have art prints and originals on my Etsy shop. I also have a email list, so you can sign up on my email, and once a month I'll send a little newsletter with some pretty pictures, usually a little quote or a poem that I find. There's this I like these vintage books that have this old-timey poetry, and so I'll post something that fits the theme. Sometimes I'll write a bit of something too. So yeah, just something to keep people updated on events I'll be in and what's new. So I'll that's where I let everyone know hey, I made this new art and it's on my Etsy shop, or hey, there's this new YouTube video out, or usually during the summer months I'll participate in art festivals, so I'll let people know there, hey, if you're in town or local or not too far away, here's the fairs that I'll be in. And sometimes there's I guess inspiration or more about the process and stuff of making the art. So if you definitely want the insider scoop and be the first to know, that is totally the place to be. So let's see what's going on in this video. Oh yeah, because it's summer and it's just so nice out, and now I can see all these insect life just floating around, and they're just so colorful and fun to watch. And so that is what inspired me to draw this butterfly. And actually a couple years ago I sort of started this tradition where we'll get caterpillars in a cup, and then usually around May and June they'll have fully grown by then, and then we'll release them at a nearby botanical garden where I live. So it's been a really fun experience, and something to do with the whole family and the kids, and my partner Aaron. They really love to see those little tiny caterpillars, because when they first come in the cup they're so skinny and small lengthwise, and then they get enormous comparatively, oh my god, I don't know, what I say, maybe 10 times, 20 times their size, something like that. And so they come in the this little cup that has their food at the bottom, and it just looks like this, it kind of looks like brown sand or something, except it doesn't move. So yeah, and then they just I guess go to the bottom, and they'll eat it, and then eventually over the next couple weeks they'll climb up the sides and start to spin their thread and their hanging stuff, or maybe that's their poop. Actually, now that I think about it, they did say that all those stringy things and stuff, that might be, well, I guess it comes out of their butt, right? And so what we think of also as caterpillar silk is their, what comes out of them at the end. So yeah, either way though, it's fun to watch. It really does look almost spider webby. And then they'll climb to the top of the cup, and then they'll start forming their cocoon around themselves, and then eventually just hang out there for a bit. And then after that, maybe within days or a week later, then you'll see them start to emerge, and it's a really fast process. I mean, once they start trying to break free, it's usually I feel usually it's within minutes, if not seconds, that it's done, that they just come right out, just flapping away. Well, they don't flap too much at first, because their wings are probably so new and delicate. So those sort of just like they'll flap a couple times and then just kind of stand around. And we have this, I think we got it through, I mean, if you just like search for it on Google, I'm sure there's like, you can buy it from Amazon, and it's just this brand of butterfly sort of garden kit thing. And you can also like get it from their direct website. Actually, maybe I'll just look up what they're called, because I really like the one that I get. Because first we got like the kit set up, so you get this like pop-up tent almost like for the butterflies, so that they have like room to like spread their wings and stuff once they're born. And then a bit after that, then you like release them outside. But it's like a really good place from like start to finish, like they can just hang out in. You can also feed them sugar water, or you could like open up some fruit and have like some fruit juice on there too. So, and then once you have like that little kit, it's really just the pop-up part. You can like use, it does come with like this little dish, I think. Wait, did it? No, I'm not sure that it did. Oh, it did come with a little stand. We used to have like this little stand where you could put the lid of the butterfly cup, like once they're growing to caterpillars on there. You could like kind of set it on the side so that when they come out, they can like easily just be in like the whole space. But we lost that, so we don't necessarily need it. But after that, after you have that, then you can just buy the caterpillar cups, and that's fine. So let's see, I am looking for it. Oh, okay, there, let's see, Nature Gift Store is where I buy, it says I bought 10 live caterpillars butterfly kit, and it's about $16, and it says there's an $8 delivery, and you get 10 painted lady butterfly caterpillars. I feel like we had more than, no, it must have been 10. Wow, it just seemed like so many this time around. Oh, you know what, I think the previous years we started out with 5, and now we've been doing like a bit more. But you should be able to get them from other places. I think it's just a matter of which ones like consistently like everybody like gets to grow up and stuff. So they say they guarantee at least 6 caterpillars to become happy adults. Most of ours did live. There was just one whose wing, out of the 10, there was one whose wing was just not good from the get-go. So that one, what do we call him? Oh, I called him Jimmy. Oh, little Jimmy. And like little Jimmy, like once he was like born, like I just put him over by like my plants that were growing, and then I would just like feed him in his own little bowl, because it just felt like I was just gonna take care of him until he couldn't really continue to live on, because he just did not have a great start to life. So wanted to make him comfortable. Let's see, I'm trying to find the exact kit I used. Where was the butterfly tent? I can't even see it anymore. I don't know what order history this is in. Butterfly, maybe if I just look up, maybe I can recognize it. Oh, maybe it was, oh, you know what, it's insect lore. There we go. Yep, insect lore. So you get, they have like some other kinds of tents now too, but ours is like the cylinder one, or it looks like a big tube. Oh, and they give you food. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. So they do give you a little spot to put the lid. It's like this little log that the lid sits on, so once they emerge, they can just like easily flap about. And then they also give you 5 live caterpillars, and then they also give you this little feeding dish and a couple sample packets of like butterfly food that you can pour in that dish for them to drink out of. Oh, and it looks like it's $30 on their website. So I feel like that's amazing. Oh, it says it's a 3-week project. Yeah, that sounds about right. They have other kits too. Ant mountain. I mean, my backyard is an ant mountain, so I think I'm good with that. But oh my gosh, if I just like cut up the dirt back there and just got a piece, I'm pretty sure it would look like a big mountain, big anthill and everything. Okay, so yes, that is the butterfly kit. So we get that, we grow our caterpillars, we get to watch them grow. We just like put them like right on the dining table every day, sort of like peek, see what they're doing. It's really fun. And it's become just like a spring tradition, I guess, like winter, because we have such long winters here that it's honestly very depressing. Because it's just so long. So, and it's just so cold and it's dark. And then there's all these snowstorms. So a lot of the times things get canceled around here. So like, even though we want to have like all these events going on, because of like the weather, that kind of stuff usually gets delayed. So in the winter months, there's not usually much to do. So you're kind of at home a lot. And so then when like the weather does start to warm up, it's just such a relief, because it's like, oh my God, I can be outside without it trying to kill me. So, yeah, it's something nice to look forward to, and it also keeps us, I'm trying to think, happy, sane, having something to look. We need something good to look forward to, and these beautiful butterflies are definitely a great thing to look forward to. So that is my story about the butterflies. Oh, and then so we have there's a botanical garden, and there are volunteers. It might also be like our local parks department that runs it, and they like maintain the grounds. They also like sell plants at certain times. Probably around spring they'll have a bunch of plants in their greenhouse for everybody, and they have these gardens they take care of. So there's like these herb gardens, these touch-feely gardens, scent gardens. There's like a little fairy path and a kid's path, and then they a bit ago they added, I feel like just within the last couple of years, they added like this big path, and now they have like fruit trees there and even more plants and like a patio area to sit down and relax. So it's a really nice place to go and enjoy all of the variety of the plants and flowers and everything. And so that's where we release the butterflies, and it usually takes like a little bit for them to sort of come out of their home. Like they're like a little hesitant at first to sort of come out of that pop-up, and then I should say after a little bit, they might like climb onto like our finger, and then we'll kind of like take them over to a flower, or some of them will just fly right out and be carried off by the wind. But it's just so fun to see them like just instinct takes over, and they're off. They've got this wide open area to fly and be free and feed on whatever plants they like, and it's just so rewarding to see. So I just love butterflies. And actually, I didn't always love butterflies. I used to think they were kind of gross, because I'm like, oh, they look so maybe like more bug-like in like the center of their body, like if they didn't have like their wings. But I feel like the more I get used to them and I'm exposed to them and they're around me, that I just consider them just to be more normal than sort of like a gross sort of thing. So yeah, because I definitely didn't, what was it? Oh yeah, I didn't grow up with I guess, having like a bunch of like insects or growing insects or like animals around, but it's something that like I really enjoyed as I've gotten older. And as you can see in my, let me see, in the forest dragon video, which dragon video was it? Oh no, I think it's the mountain. Okay, there's gonna be a mountain dragon video coming up, and in that, I believe, I'm trying to think, is it going to be, let me check. I think it might be the one I'm making after this. Let me double check what is on my schedule. Okay, yes, after this one is going to be, this video, butterfly video, is going to be my mountain dragon video. And in that, you will see my newly adopted kitten makes an appearance for a bit. Her name is Caterpillar, which is not related to this whole butterfly experience, I promise. But that would be cool if it was. It sounds like too much of a coincidence. But her, I'm trying to think. Her name, so Erin came up with her name because, gosh, how many years ago was it? It was back when we were living in Seattle, Washington, and we had just had our daughter Anna, so it must have been 2014, around 2014. So how many years is it? Let me see, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. Okay, that's about 8 years. Did I count that right? Because she's 7. Wait, 14, 15, 18, 19. Yeah, okay. It's 8 years, works out. Oh, right, because she's going to be 8 this year. Okay, there we go. So she had just been born, and I was really on a, like, I want to adopt some kind of animal kick. And so we ended up getting 2 kittens from like Petco, and they had like this program where they said, hey, like, go ahead and like, you can try it out, see how, these animals work with your family. If it doesn't work out, you can just bring them back, no problem. And so I thought, okay, I will do that and see how this goes. Well, when we brought them home, of course it was just chaos, right? Because like they're kittens, and like these were like really young kittens. They must have been like, I don't want to say 8 weeks. I don't know what like the minimum, I feel like they were around, at least one of them was around like the minimum for age for adopting. So I don't know if that's 6 or 8 weeks, something like that. And then the other one might have been like a month older, maybe 12 weeks or so. So they just had so much energy. They were so tiny. They were just like running around the place meowing. They didn't fully, they seemed to understand their litter box, but they also like to play in it. So we had our litter box in the laundry room. And this was this was when we had lived in Seattle, Washington for a bit, like right in the city, maybe a year or 2 or something. And then we ended up moving to the suburbs of Renton, Washington, so that we could have like a bigger place and it was a bit more affordable. So we were essentially paying the same that we did for rent by just buying a house and having like 3 times as much space. Well, wait, no, I shouldn't say that, because it was around 1,800 square feet, the house, and I think the apartment we were in was like 1,200, which was pretty big for an apartment. So, but it just felt so much bigger because it was 2 stories and it had like 4 bedrooms, whereas our apartment was 2 bedrooms, and like, yeah, it was so noisy too, living downtown. I really like hated it. Oh my gosh. And the worst thing was like, and I don't know, maybe this is still some Kool-Aid they're drinking down there, but they swear, like in Washington, they're like, we don't need air conditioning, it doesn't get that hot. Well, I will tell you, being in that apartment on 90-degree days with no flipping, AC in there, and then having to open up the windows only to hear construction noise directly across from my building, that was the worst. So we did end up getting like an AC unit that we could hold or that would connect to like an outside window. But I think we just had one. Did we just have one? Yeah, we didn't have that much funds at the time, so we're like, okay, let's just put this in the main room and, you know, hope we'll use some fans to kind of get it circling into the bedrooms and stuff. And oh gosh, it was just like, I'm still traumatized by that whole experience. Like, very loud, very hot. And then I also had my son, who was like just a baby at the time, so having to like entertain him all day was just, in that terrible apartment, was just like, like, it's really, after living in like when I was in apartments, when it was just like me and Aaron, it was like fine. But once there was like a kid along, it's like, oh my gosh, like, they have so many toys. They need to like run around on their little legs. Like, I don't really need to do that. I can just go outside for a walk if I feel like it once in a while, or I just go to a grocery store or Target, and that's how I get my exercise. But like, these little kids, like, they really do need just a lot of space to be like content and happy. And I feel like for their caregivers too, whoever's taking care of them, like, because they're just going to be miserable, and then it'll make you miserable, and oh god. Anyway, it was a whole thing. So I was just really happy to get the frick out of living in the city. So then we moved to the suburbs, which was Renton. And then we had our second child, Anna, and then our kittens. Well, it turns out the combination of a newborn baby and these kittens was a bit too much for me. So after, I feel like a week or two, we did bring them back to Petco and said, hey, you know what, thanks for letting us try this out, but it did not work out. And one of the cats, it wasn't the really little one, it was the one that was maybe 12 weeks old or something, had an eye that had a cataract. And so because of that, which I think just meant like it was kind of like grayish and it couldn't see very well out of it, if at all. And Aaron, because of that, like, wanted to name it Caterpillar. And so that, he thought that was so cool. Like, oh, cataract, caterpillar, that's a clever, there you go, twist on a name. So ever since, and he really did like that cat. The younger cat did seem to have, well, I just remember she had like the stinkiest farts, so I don't know what that means, but I don't know if she had any health issues or if that was just normal, getting used to new food stuff. But then, and she was the one who always got into stuff. And and then my son, because he was like a toddler at the time, he was not gentle with her, so that poor thing, I'm glad we took her back, because I don't know what would have happened to her, that little kid around. But Caterpillar was like the chill cat, like would just be like laying down, once in a while would like go and run around and stuff, but was definitely like, I guess, the more chill one. So I think that Aaron like really connected with that one a bit more. And so now let's fast forward 8 years. So now we have the pets that we currently do have. We have our cat Pierce, who we've had for like 2 years. And he's like an older, lazy cat. He's really fun. Except his meows are annoying, which is in one of my videos. He's in that one where I drew the comic about him, and then he comes on screen meowing. Like, yeah, it's so loud. It's insane. And then we have our leopard gecko Kara, and then we also have a dwarf hamster Light Shadow. And then we also do the caterpillars. Yeah, every year, the butterflies and stuff. So it seems like at this point we have a good variety of, active animals, and we live our life with our pets, and it's great. And what's also really nice is now that the kids are like 7 and 9, they're really good with like the animals and stuff. Like, they really, I mean, once in a while there's like, hey, like, let's be a little gentle, or but not, but I can like leave them alone with the animals and not worry about them. And I think it helps that they've like been around animals for like a few years now, so they kind of get it. And it was so cute the other day. My daughter Anna was doing like veterinary with our like kitten, and like because the like kitten is so young, she's like a year old, she's so playful, so she's just going right along with it. And Anna's like, oh, it's time for ear checkup, and the kitten's like moving around like batting his hands and then her hands, and then Anna's like, like don't get too close, because she knows now that like, okay, this kitten is very playful, this kitten might have some claws out, even if it's in play, you might get a little scratch or like a little nip, but nothing like, it's not like intentional or very hard, but just, watch your hands, a bit. So, and they're just like giggling together, and then she was also giving the cat shots, which she loves to do. It's like she just loves to torture us with that. She'll have this like little plastic thing that she gets to push down, and she'll be like, it's time for your shots. I'm like, no, I don't want my shots. And she's like, yes. So she loves, it's like, maybe because like when she was because like when they're babies, you have to give them like, you have to take them to the doctor so often for shots, and I feel like that traumatized her a bit, and she's like, oh, now I get my revenge and stuff. So but yeah, I am glad that part of their life is over. I mean, taking care of babies is a lot. It's 24/7 while you're sleep deprived, while you're isolated because you just don't hang out with your friends as much, because it's like you have to take care of this little bundle, and then life happens, you move, maybe don't have friends. Okay, maybe I'm just talking about my life. So but it's a bit harder to keep in touch. It's definitely easier to keep in touch when you live in town with the same people, and it's just different. It's just another one of those things that pops up and kind of distracts you from maybe other things that you were planning on doing. Just, things pop up and you're like, oh, would now be a good time to travel? No, with the baby, now would not be a good time to travel. It would just add so much more things and stress and all the other things. Oh my goodness, just thinking about it. So, but as they get older, they get a bit more independent, and so like now they're at the point where they're like really fun to like travel with, and they're fun to like do activities with. Like it's not just us just keeping them alive and then that's it. Like they contribute, like we have fun together. If I'm like, hey, we're going on this trip. I mean, they're used to, we love to travel and stuff and visit new places, and they understand, the whole airport routine by now. So it's like, okay, let's pack your backpack. What are you bringing on the plane? And they like bringing, their switches or iPads and, their headphones, all their stuff. They usually bring a little stuffy or blanket, and just keep themselves entertained, and then they just like want some snacks, and then they're good. So they're basically, teenagers at that point. They just do their own thing. And actually, as they get older, I guess they'll have their phones, and then they can like talk to their friends while they're waiting at places. But it's no longer like I mean, once in a while there's like a mom, dad kind of thing, but they really are kind of know, to do stuff for themselves, and how to, know what their own needs are and how to take care of that. If they're hungry, they can make themselves some food. If they're, bored, they can like get a game. So, yeah, and I guess I went on that tangent all to say that, and then when it comes to pets, they are, they like understand that a lot better now. So like now they're able to help out with like the food and water. They'll give them, the cats, like their fresh food and water in the mornings. They'll also play with the kitten, because the Pierce, the old man cat, we call him the old man, he's 8, but he just likes to lay around all the time. So they make sure to give him lots of pets, because they said they don't want him to get jealous of the new kitten. But then the new kitten is really where they have a lot of fun, because it's like on their same energy level. Like they can run around with the kitten, they can play like toys with it, and it loves cat toys. Oh my god. So with Pierce, whenever we got toys, like we would get like little fish that move, and we would get those long, almost they look like fishing rods with something at the end that you can dangle in front of them. Pierce, not into it. He's like, why are you putting this in front of my face? Like, what is this? He would just walk away. Well, this kitten, of course, bundle of energy, is always up for playing and is always so curious and exploring and just really, yeah, it's just so like active, and so we all just take turns playing with her. And she also goes like into the kids' rooms, and she did sleep in Desmond's room for the first night, which Pierce has never done. He's sort of stayed away from the kids' rooms. He's sort of like, he'll follow like me and Aaron around and then just like sit down and meow and then be like, I want to be pet. But yeah, he hasn't, I feel like the kitten is just more, the kids can connect with her a bit more. And so we're just really enjoying that. And so we got our kitten from our really good friends who live on, let me see, well, they live on like a farm with their like in-laws and parents, and they have like a bunch of barn cats. And so this cat was like in the barn, but then I guess its eyes were like frozen shut because it was just so cold during the winter. What did they say? Was it below 40 or something like that? And so they brought the kitten inside and like nursed it back to health basically. And now they have like a couple of cats in their place, but their dad was like, hey, I want less cats in the house. So they were looking to give the cat away. And so then the last time we were by there, I did end up convincing Aaron to get another cat. And I had told the kids too, because they had been talking about they wanted a kitten. And I did tell them, or we did talk about what it takes to take care of a cat and how they would help out and contribute. And we seemed to be on the same page. But then Aaron was a bit concerned about more of like the practicalness of it. Like, like what about like the litter box and where do we have to put it? Because right now we have a litter box like from like the living room, the main floor. You can go upstairs and in the bathroom is a litter box, or you can go downstairs to the basement and the laundry room, it's another litter box. But we don't have one like on the same level floor, and so he was thinking if we got like a really little kitten, it might be difficult for her to like go up or downstairs. So he just had more practical concerns about, okay, how would this work out in our house? Where would this stuff be? Where would they be fed? Where would they sleep? That kind of stuff. So knowing that, when we were there, I like showed him some kittens that seemed really promising, like they could really work with our household, because we needed them to be really gentle and loving for sure, especially because they're like around kids, and we want to build like positive associations with these animals and stuff. But I mean, also for me, like I don't want I wouldn't want a pet that I ever felt like scared of, or that I thought would like intentionally try to, was like a bit aggressive or something. So I was like picking up the kittens and holding them and just seeing how they, felt and reacted and stuff. And so we started off with like these like really like tiny kittens who, oh my gosh, they must have been maybe just like a month old or maybe a bit more. They're super small and stuff. And yeah, Aaron was holding them too, but he wasn't quite convinced that we should get one so little. And so we went in the house. So those were like the barn cats. There were so many of them. And then we went in the house, and then there were like these bit older cats, but still kittens, like a year old. And they're, we just found the cat. At the time it was named Baby, and then we changed the name to Caterpillar. And then I was like holding her, and she was just like so sweet, and she was just soft, and it just seemed like her demeanor was like really good, and I wanted it to go along with our current cat Pierce too, like at our house. So I felt like they were on like the same wavelength, like they would like get along. Like, of course she's gonna be more hyper just because of her age, but I also wanted, yeah, I guess that is how I would describe it. I wanted them to be on the get along and stuff. And so then Aaron held her too, and he was pretty charmed by her and was like, okay, I can see we should probably get this kitten. And he did like that she was a bit older, and that she already knew her way around a letterbox kind of thing. And she's just really sweet. So she's the one that we adopted. And then because of those, however many years ago, or as we said, 8 years ago, he really liked a kitten, but then we did end up taking it back. Then he got to pick the name for this kitten. And so that's how he named her Caterpillar. And that is the really long story to go about that and how that ended up happening. And she's been pretty great. I mean, when we first brought her home, she just stayed in Desmond's room on his bed. She didn't want to go anywhere. We're like, okay, we'll just let you hang out there, but show you where the litter box is too. And then the next day she felt like exploring the house a bit more, and then she ran into Pierce. She was not too happy with him. She just made like a little hiss. It wasn't like very aggressive or like she was gonna pounce on him or do anything. It was just like a hiss, and then as like kind of keep your distance. And then I'm trying to think, what did Pierce do? He just kind of, I feel like he just kind of backed away a bit. But there was one time where he was like sitting on a chair, and then she like came over to him, and then he did try to swipe her with his paw to like kind of get away or something. And so we were like, but that was only like the first couple days they were together. So we're like, oh, are they ever gonna be friends? But as the days went on, she eventually, so it was usually Caterpillar initiating something. Eventually she was able to be around him like without hissing. So like every day she would like hiss a little less. And eventually, I'm trying to think, have we gone to the point where she hasn't? It seems like more of a rare thing now, but they are able to be in each other's company. And actually yesterday, what happened? Oh, so Pierce was, we were like cuddling on the couch, and then Caterpillar came over, and then Pierce got up, and then he rubbed himself against her body, and then he sniffed her butt, and she just stood there and was just like whatever, and just kept going her way, and they just kept going. So I felt like that was a really good sign that they're like really like accepting each other, that she was allowing him to do that, because she was the one that was weary of him, whereas like for him, like after that one swipe that he did, like then he just like sat down. Like she would like do like a little hiss, and then he would just like sit down and like just go to sleep. He just in front of her, he like really did not care. He was not bothered by her at all. So I think his really like calm demeanor and his pacifist behavior really helped this relationship become more friendly quickly than if he had been a bit as aggressive as her, I should say. Although she's really not even aggressive. I think she was just scared, and it was just more defensive, like, wait, who are you? What are you gonna do? But then eventually she learned to like, oh, okay, he's fine. He's a nice cat. I imagine things are pretty competitive out in the Barnfield cat world, so I'm sure she's been around the block or two. Well, maybe now I will talk a bit more about this butterfly drawing. So on the iPad you see on the screen, I have a photo from Unsplash pulled up. So Unsplash is where I go to get a lot of like copyright free photos that I can reference and draw from. And I like to they have like a spot where you can make collections. So I'll make like a collection called like butterflies, and then I find all these cool butterfly pictures and put it in there, and then I can, you know, pick which one I want to paint that day. And it's really come in handy whenever there's something I'm looking forward to drawing, like it could be like mountains or some sort of animal. And yeah, it's just a great site. I've used them for years now. And some of the photographers I follow on Instagram too, because I'll end up posting something where I'm like, oh hey, thanks for the photo, and then they like get back and like, oh, that's cool, you made that from it. And it's just cool to just be connected to people in that way as well, because we're all artists here trying to create wonderful things. And yeah, I just love this site that brings that together. So what I really loved about this picture was definitely the colors, like that bright pink, flowers, and then I love those spots on the butterfly. So when I started, and I like the blurry background too, so when I started drawing it, I decided to just do kind of like these very minimal outlines, and then do this, I guess sort of, what would you call it? I don't know if it's like an abstract or it's like a barely there sort of motion. It could be like considered cloud-like. I just want, oh, dreamy. That's my goal. Yeah. So for the background, I just want it to look very like dreamy, and so I made that effect by doing a wet on wet technique. So watering the page first and then placing some paints in there to give it like a really nice like spread and like not like too even sort of goal. And then let me zoom in a bit. What's going on here? Okay, so after I did that background, oh yeah, and then I had it sketched out, the butterfly and the leaves and everything. Then I used a combination of watercolors as well as colored pencil to give it some texture. And then I also like using this gel pen as like highlights to really get those whites in, because as we know with watercolors, it's so hard to keep those whites white, because you can't like put white on the page. You sort of have to paint around it so that the background of the page shows up as white. And I guess if you're not painting on a white page, then you'd have to use some other techniques. So I usually use gel pens, or I'll use white colored pencils to make some sort of effect. And if that is not enough, then I'll use white gouache. That's usually, since it's like not as bold as like acrylic, it usually blends in really well. Like I think that if you saw the drawing, you probably wouldn't be able to tell that maybe there was another sort of paint in there. So I like that to sort of make it look a bit cohesive as well. And those are all my tips and tricks making this butterfly. Let's see, what else am I gonna, oh, I can talk about, so there's some art fairs that I like participating in. Oh, I should talk about, okay, so before I talk about the art fairs, maybe I'll talk about sort of like my art goals and plans and stuff that's going on. So I've been, let me see, so for the past couple years, well, for long years, like the last 10 years, I've been like slowly working towards finishing up my computer degree, which is just something like out of high school, I was like, okay, I want to go study computers. And so I've just been in the process. Well, in the process, then I met my partner, Aaron. So, I mean, pretty worth it there. And then I, I had like a computer job, and then I was like, oh, maybe this isn't exactly what I want to be doing. So then I started my art business a few years ago. Well, I am so excited to say that by the end of this year, I will be done with my computer program, and then I can do my art full time. So I'm really thinking about what way do I want to get my business out there, and what sort of method will work well for me in order to make a living off of my art. And so some of the things I've done to get my art out there are being present on social medias and just letting everyone know, oh, hey, here's what I'm painting. And then having an Etsy shop, so a way for people to purchase the art and be able to decorate their spaces. And I also, in the last couple years, tried out art fairs and being like a vendor at those fairs, which is so cool because I love going to those like craft festivals and art festivals and just seeing like what unique things people are creating. And most of the time, like, they are like handmade, local artist sort of work, or craftspeople sort of work, or local farmers. I mean, whatever people are making, and it's so cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my Target, but it's also nice to have like those really like distinct, one of a kind features. And yeah, I just love to see it. It brings me such joy. So being able to participate in these festivals has been so great, and really not even something I would have thought I was qualified for, honestly. Like years ago. Well, I'm gonna drink some water. My throat is tired. So it's just one of those things where, like, looking back, you're like, oh my gosh, how far have I come? This is so neat. So I started off, let me see, last year there was a street fair I did, and that went really well because there was like just like all kinds of people there. It just attracts like everybody in town coming to see, what's there and stuff. And then I did a Pride in the Park where I live, we have like a week long like celebrating Pride events. So we have the like the market event, which is where I was at. We also have like a dance party rave, and we also have like a 5K run, and I think there's also like a drag race thing, or I think it's like for kids that they can participate in, and just like all these really fun events to celebrate Pride. And the market one that I was in, it was so great. Like, the people there were amazing, and the energy was just so litty. And yeah, I had a blast. So I definitely wanted to do that one again this year. And then another one, what else did I do? Oh, I did, there was this other one called like Big Island Park, I think. And I had been there like as a attendee like some years ago, and I remember it being just getting some really unique finds. Like, I had got this this dragonfly like yard stake or like decoration that I could put in my grass, and it just always brought me so much joy to see it. So I was like really looking forward to it. But oh my gosh, it was just bad timing, because the first day I was there, it was just a complete thunderstorm, and so it's just rainy and like dark, and like there was like nobody there. I mean, they even closed it down halfway through because there was just, they're like, the thunder is getting too close, and I'm like, oh my god, this took so much to set up, and now I'm here. So I feel like that was just like unlucky experience. But I did hear the most amazing and wonderful singer, and now I follow her on YouTube. So she was, oh my gosh, what is her name? Is it Joan something? Anyway, she did, I feel like it's something that goes together. Like, it sounds like she's already famous. Jones something. Joss Jones?
When I was a student, I'd write long essays. Then I'd work on...
My YouTube is playing. Wait, no, it's not Joss Jones. No, that's like an actual... No, okay, here's the thing. I'm thinking about this. Oh, Joss Stone. Okay, her name, okay, the person performing name was not Joss Stone, but her energy really reminded me of her because she had such amazing, like, soulful voice, and the songs, they were that, like, old school, what is it? Like, just soulful, like, I don't know if you would call it, like, R&B. Well, I guess it would be like older style R&B, not like the newer stuff that's playing, but like if you were listening to what would be in like maybe like a jazz club and they were playing like some some blues music, and oh my god, she was just fantastic, and she was just belting it out there, and there was just nobody really listening because nobody was out there, and it was like raining and cold, and but the vendors were all really, really enjoying her performance, and that was amazing. So I'm just really happy that I got to know about her by being there. And then I did what other one did I do? Oh, and then I did an indoor show, which that was my first time doing an indoor show, and I think I was just underprepared because my booth was just a bit dark, and I think that many people didn't like go in because it was just the vibe wasn't how I usually do. Like, usually I'm like very like bright and colorful, and you see all the greenery because I do more outdoor shows. But the indoor ones, oh my god, you must have needed so much light and a bunch of setup. So setup took a lot longer. It needed a lot more materials to probably even get close to what my booth usually looks like in an outdoor place. So I feel like for now, probably not going to go with indoor shows because I really do like being outside in the sunshine and the greenery and everything. So for this year, Pride in the Park, and then what was it? Oh, and then we had our first Renaissance festival. So pretty great. And so for next year, since I'll be officially full-time by then, I'm going to be doing even more like outdoor shows and just really getting my list together of places I want to be, and just super duper looking forward to it. And it looks like we are finished with our butterfly painting, and you will also see in the next video how this butterfly theme continues with the mountain dragon. So please stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate all your likes and subscribes and comments and views on the video. And I hope you all take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.